got spare parts from my last broken heart. Somehow more than what I had to start. Yeah, I've got spare parts. I tried to fix it best I remembered it. I hope it runs when I fire it up, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be a perfect fit, 'cause I got spare parts. Took a piece of you, like lovers often do. I'll try to make it good as new, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare parts. What's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare parts.
Justice for all.
It's Monday!
Live and in person here from Epping, New Hampshire, home of 3 of New Hampshire's governors, politicking with Mr. B. That would be Morrill, Plummer, and Prescott. You want it, you got it, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are. It is Wednesday night, 7:30 p.m. And if we got a lot of things to be discussing over here, but before we get any further at all, Mr. Blazeman, run up the colors because we got to get this show on the road. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And when I say liberty and justice for all, I mean all of the people, tall, short, fat, skinny, no matter what your color, no matter how you talk to God, if you talk to God, or whatever else goes on, as long as you are a citizen or legally here, maybe a resident alien or visitor or whatever else, that's fine. But if you are here illegally, if you are in this country taking the benefit of its blessings without putting back to it and without having done things the right way, please get out. Go leave. If you want to be here, come in, do things the right way. Wait, like so many other people have. It isn't fair to cheat the system. It isn't fair to them. But it isn't fair to us. Because the presence of illegal aliens, I'm not going to say dreamers, I'm not going to say migrants, illegal aliens is overtaxing and overburdening our system. You're not contributing. You're not helping pay. And what is going on?
Gad, we're all right.
Okay. So anyway, yeah. If you're here illegally, just go. Get out. Come in the right way. Do things right. Because you know what? Frankly, the rest of America here, we've had enough. We've been very, very generous. We've given housing out to you folks. We've been in hotels and free food, free hotels, free health care, free credit cards with money, free telephones, all of that stuff. No, that's enough. We can't take care of our own. There are people who are starving, who have been made homeless for no good reason down south. Our own citizens who have helped build and work and sustain our country. We're not able to pay for them. FEMA's doing absolutely nothing because they're too busy, as they say, trying to plug the holes or take care of the problems down at the southern border. And they can't take care of our own people who are still, to this day, digging people out of mud. Dead people. And the body count goes higher by the day. And FEMA still ain't doing a damn thing. And we have a hello. Hi, Jeff, from Rita Richie, all the way down in Salem, New Hampshire. I'm Rita. Good to see you, young lady. We're glad to have you. I certainly hope you stay in with us and enjoy the show. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I had gotten just home just in time early this afternoon and walked around into my living room, pat my dog, and I sat down on my couch only to see Vice President Kamala Harris at a podium with the seal of her office on it, making vapid and unhinged and the most deranged statements about Donald Trump, clearly using and abusing her place in her office for her re-election campaign. You know, that's just bad, but it's something we've come to expect and to see. And to hear the things that she was saying, all relying on some crazy things. These people will just, they resulted in just throwing the craziest things out and saying the most flippant, unhinged, and screwy things because someone said they heard something else. So please, ladies and gentlemen, don't take my word for it. Listen to what this ridiculous rant was. Please, Mr. Blazeman, go ahead. Roll this video that we've got here. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to love it.
So yesterday we learned that Donald Trump's former chief of staff, John Kelly, a retired 4-star general, confirmed that while Donald Trump was president, he said he wanted generals like Adolf Hitler had. Donald Trump said that because he does not want a military that is loyal to the United States Constitution. He wants a military that is loyal to him. He wants a military who will be loyal to him personally, one that will obey his orders even when he tells them to break the law or abandon their oath to the Constitution of the United States. In just the past week, Donald Trump has repeatedly called his fellow Americans the enemy from within, and even said that he would use the United States military to go after American citizens. And let's be clear about who he considers to be the enemy from within. Anyone who refuses to bend a knee or dares to criticize him would qualify in his mind as the enemy within.
You know why she's saying all of this, right?
Journalists,
B is because she's getting her ass handed to her in the polls right now.
It is deeply troubling and incredibly dangerous that Donald Trump would invoke Adolf Hitler, the man who is responsible for the deaths of 6 million Jews and hundreds of thousands of Americans.
No!
All of this is further evidence for the American people of who Donald Trump really is. This is a window into who Donald Trump really is, from the people who know him best, from the people who worked with him side by side in the Oval Office and in the Situation Room. And it is clear from John Kelly's words that Donald Trump is someone who, I quote, certainly falls into the general definition of fascist.
When are we going to start hearing
who in
from
fact
the people
vowed
who
to be a dictator on day one and vowed to use the military
out? When are we going to start hearing from those people?
As his personal militia to carry out his personal and political vendettas. Donald Trump is increasingly unhinged and unstable. And in a second term, people like John Kelly would not be there to be the guardrails against his propensities and his actions. Those who once tried to stop him from pursuing his worst impulses would no longer be there, and no longer be there to rein him in. So the bottom line is this. We know what Donald Trump wants. He wants unchecked power. The question in 13 days will be, what do the American people want?
They sure as hell don't want you. That's for damn sure. My God, ladies and gentlemen, they will stop at nothing. This moronic idiot is babbling on, invoking Adolf Hitler, saying that Donald Trump is trying to act like Hitler, and he wants generals to act the way that Hitler's generals did. Hitler's own generals tried to kill him, so that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Hello, Lisa Parent. Thank you very much for joining in. Glad to have you, along with Ginny and the Vision Freitas. Glad to have you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I wonder who wrote her script, because she doesn't have enough brain cells to write something like that. Excellent point, Ginny. Thank you very much. So, Donald Trump, who himself has a son-in-law who is a practicing Jew, and I have been witness over the years, being a Trumpelophile, if you will, have seen a number of times where Donald Trump cares about business. He doesn't care how you speak with God, what faith you have, or whatever else. He is not an anti-Semite. He is the furthest thing from being an anti-Semite. And anybody who has half a brain in their head who knows that the man just hosted a long discussion with Bibi Netanyahu and has on several occasions now been in close contact with Benjamin Netanyahu over what's going on over in Israel and doing what they can and discussing things, knows that Donald Trump is not an anti-Semite. Donald Trump is not a swastika wearing and waving Nazi. Donald Trump does not want to turn American generals into the Third Reich. No, it is not going to happen. All of this stuff is absolutely incredibly stupid. And why are they coming out with this? Because she's got nothing else. The woman hasn't got brains enough to fart, let alone answer intelligently a question that she's asked with a direct, factual answer. How many times have we all witnessed now? There have been interviews that she's had, and I ask a direct question, a very simple, direct question. And she talks around in circles, usually going on, well, I was born and I was raised in a middle-class family and blah, blah, and my neighbors liked all their lawns. Well, that's all fine and good, but lady, for Christ's sake, she keeps saying exactly the same thing over and over, and there's nothing else. And to turn around and start trying to throw, oh, Donald Trump's a Nazi. Donald Trump's a Nazi. What are you going to do next? Are you going to take and try and pin sinking the Lusitania on the man? The sinking of the Titanic? Maybe Mount Vesuvius going off on Pompeii. Why don't you try pinning that on him? Honest to God. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, please don't listen. Don't let me be the only voice here. 508-974-4231. Call in. We want to hear from you, hear what you have to say about the situation. And believe me, I'll be happy to take calls from anybody. I'm not going to cut you off. If you're a diehard for whatever reason, Kamala Harris supporter, I'd be happy to take the phone call and hear what you have to say. My goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Blazeman, did I see that you had a secondary video that you wanted to play? Something having to do with the. Yeah. Jimmy, here we go.
Don't overthink this. Things work best in neighborhoods. They work best in communities. They work best in states. They work best in countries. If you just follow that golden rule of minding your own damn business, and things work fine. Things work fine. Kamala Harris talks about this. If your neighbors are out there and they want to know why to vote for Kamala Harris, because she trusts you to make decisions about your body, your family, and your future, not politics. The freedom to retire with dignity by strengthening Social Security and Medicare, not cutting them. Because to be very clear, it's where they're at.
Why is it?
And I say this.
Why is it every damn time these Democrats get up there and talk about a candidate that they're going against, which is most of the time a Republican, and they every single time, every 4 years, the Republicans are always going to cut Medicaid, always going to do this. Trump was in for 4 years, never cut Medicaid. Matter of fact, we got a raise. So I don't understand this ass clown.
By the way, why should we give any credence at all to anything that comes out of this lying son of a bitch's mouth? This guy is the one that turned around, steals valor, saying that he carried guns in times of war or whatever else, trying to make people think that he was in battle somewhere, when actually he had us put up on a desk over in Italy somewhere. And this is the same guy, by the way, who turns around and says that we should be putting tampons in boys' rooms in schools. And this is the same fellow, by the way, don't you know, that turned around and said that he was a command sergeant major or whatever else, when he claims he was retired as a command sergeant major when he was, in fact, demoted because he didn't live up to his responsibility. He did not follow the rules. And they kicked him down in rank. And he retired from that.
And the Republican nominee
he retired when he found out they were going off to war. So he says, "Oh, it's time for me to turn around and I'm not going to carry a gun in a battle zone. No, I'm out. What a schmuck! Why should we be listening to this piece of shit? Pardon my language. Well, I'll tell you why we shouldn't. We shouldn't be listening to this guy. And that's all I have to say about this schmuck. Go ahead, play the video.
True. You go into Cabela's and fill out the form and it comes back with 34 felonies. They tell you to get the hell out. For God's sakes. We got a big group in here, and I'm going to split you about 50-50 on this one. I'm going to talk to the guys in this room to have you.
This guy is talking about going into Cabela's buying guns when he can't figure out how to load what he claims to be his own gun. And this guy was a command sergeant major? Come on, ladies and gentlemen. There are stupid people in the world. You're not any of them. I know that, because even people with half a brain can figure this stuff out. How much you want to bet most of the people inside that audience where he's talking are paid? They bust them in like they did it up over here in Portsmouth when Kamala came. They wouldn't let local people into her event here in Portsmouth. They brought in people who were bussed from Massachusetts for this. It was all staged, all of it. But they don't tell you that as you get out. And yes, the phone number 508-974-4231. Apparently, hopefully we'll be getting a phone call from our friend Lisa. In the meantime, what do we have here, Mr. Blazer? You have something about
Are you
President
right
Trump.
outside now?
He's a top football player. But I was impressed before that. I was impressed with Bert before that. So, Bert, thank you very much. And, Ben, thank you for the question. I'll give you a different kind of an answer, though, okay? And you're going to be a pastor, I think, and I think that's good. I wanted to be a pastor, too, but they wouldn't accept me. They said, you can do other things, but we're not going to let you be a pastor. We're not going to do that. So good luck, okay? Good luck. So it's interesting. Yesterday I was speaking, and it was amazing. We're just all in a mood. We had a tremendous crowd. We always have tremendous crowds. There's a spirit in this country that's been incredible. But, you know, I realized as I was up in front of this very massive rally, and we're going to one with, I think, 20,000 people right now, right after that. But we're taking care of you first. I brought it up, and it was interesting because I realized the time is coming to an end. This is the greatest movement in the history of our country, MAGA. Make America great again. Make America great. And in many ways it's sad because we're down to 12 days. We've been doing this together for 9 years, and it's down to 12 days. We had the greatest rallies. We had the biggest rallies, the most beautiful people, it's just been an amazing thing.
And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching at home, you may have seen me taking a quick bite of it. I want you to see you take a look at this bad boy. Can you see this right here? You see this wonderful cake? This I received from a very dear friend and a diehard fan. Andy, I want to say thank you very much. Wow. You are one heck of a chef in many respects. And you made this, you gave this to me. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I can't leave this alone. It is so delicious. Very dear friend of mine. Thanks a lot, Andy. All right. Well, Mr. Blazeman, apparently we are having someone's trying to get through on our call-in line and apparently having some problem. So I'll tell you what, Mr. Blazeman, if you got a chance, why don't we take an early break and see if we can correct this problem? Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in probably about, phone call coming in.
Hey, caller, you're on the air with Politicking with Mr. B on the FFN network. Who are you, please, and where are you calling from?
My name is Jeannie, and I am from rural Kentucky.
All right. Go ahead, B. She's all yours.
Oh, good evening. Welcome. Thank you very much for calling in. Have you, I know you've tuned in. Have you been watching and paying attention to what's been going on?
Oh, without a doubt. And I just have to tell y'all that my little 10-year-old grandson came today after school, and the first thing he wanted to know when he got in the car with me after I picked him up was, why don't they teach us about Kamala and...
Hello?
He said,
Yes, I'm still here. Apparently the phone calls is trying to chime in. Go ahead. Hello?
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, go ahead. You were saying your grandson was asking why don't they teach
about Kamala and Trump in school. So we had a discussion about Kamala's lack of qualities, and he recently had watched the video about when Kamala said, someone had said something about Jesus in the audience, and she told them they were in the wrong rally, go down the road. And he was very upset about that. And he said, I also watched the little video, Grammy, when they said about J.D. Vance and how J.D. Vance likes Christians. So for him being 10 years old, we had a very educational afternoon about why we don't vote for Kamala and why we're going to vote for Trump. And he said that he wishes he could vote too.
Let me first offer my congratulations on the upbringing of that child who apparently does have right-minded thinking. And he's young enough at 10 years old, and he's questioning the things in his surroundings, which is exactly what children need to do. and this is a stage of learning. And thank you very much for being so diligent and being open with him about what is going on and showing him the light. And thank you, Lord God, Father God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, for the faith that this young boy has in God. He's not being raised as someone who has no regard for the Almighty, which is fantastic. I'm glad to hear this. Now, did he ask? Did he want us or seek any other information about what's going on in the country, or did he broach any of those subjects?
He doesn't know too much about those things, so we talked about them. For example, the southern border and how the illegals are coming in and they're stealing from people and murdering people. We did not discuss that they're raping people because that's not appropriate for a 10-year-old.
Understood. Yes.
But he said, well, they should just lock them up in prison, Grammy. And I said, well, love, I said, Kamala and Biden have been the ones letting them in the country, knowing that they're murderers and doing all kinds of bad things. And again, he said, they should just lock them up, Grammy. And by the way, Biden and Kamala should be in jail too because they lie.
Wow. Wow. And this is a 10-year-old boy. I wonder how many more children like him are like him and know these things or have these questions and are seeking the answers that are out there. I wonder how many parents aren't afraid to talk with their children about these subjects. I know they're not going to hear it in the school system. It does not seem as though they're going to hear this in the school system, and that is a very sad thing. Now, before I want to thank you very much for calling. Before you go, can you please tell me the environment for this young fellow? How stable of an environment is he in the home? Are there other children? Are two-parent, one-parent system?
He has both parents in the home, and he's as he calls himself, a single child.
A single.
He has no siblings.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, he sounds like he's sharp as a tack, and it's very, very good of him to be doing asking these questions. I'm certainly glad to hear that he's encouraged to ask these things, and he seeks the truth of it. I want to thank you very, very much for calling in. Apparently, we've got another caller waiting. So I want to say thank you very much, and I hope you continue to listen, and we'll talk to you again very soon, I hope. Take care very much, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank y'all.
Love you. Bye-bye. Okay, so we have another caller on the line, Mr. Blazeman.
No, but they're trying to reach.
Okay, they're trying to reach in. All right. Well,
we take a break.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, perhaps that next caller will be waiting for us. All right, we'll be back, ladies, in about 3.5 minutes or so. We'll see you soon. Politicking with Mr. B. Don't go away.
Well, I've got spare parts from my last broken heart. Somehow more than what I had to start. Yeah, I've got spare parts. I tried to fix it best I remembered it. I hope it runs when I fire it up, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use. What's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I got spare parts. Took a piece of you, like lovers often do. I'll try to make it good as new, 'cause I got spare parts. So if you see something that you might need, anything you can use, what's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare parts. What's left of it might be the perfect fit, 'cause I've got spare parts.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back with Politicking with Mr. B, home of 3 of the Hampshire governors here in Epping, New Hampshire. More of Plummer and Prescott. And we are now on the bottom half of the show. It's a beautiful show has been going on. We're having some great discussion. I want to thank the previous caller. I want to invite more calls to call in. 508-974-4231. Call in. We've been talking about what's been going on, the crazed rant that came out of Kamala Harris today, trying to say that it invoke Adolf Hitler as Donald Trump, Adolf Hitler, whatever it is thing. It's really out of control. The woman has lost control of her faculties if she believes that Donald Trump is trying to be Adolf Hitler. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to leave it at that. And I want to take up the next subject we got over here, things that are going on down south. We've increasingly been hearing things and seeing things going on about what's going on for the recovery and the rescue efforts and the continuing aid efforts that are going on. And more we're seeing videos that are coming through and people that are giving testimony, offering up actual self-made video testimony, saying that all of the rescue and recovery efforts and restoration efforts that are going on, by and large, are all being done by the own people that live down there that are still left alive. That are still left alive, and unfortunately, that are still left alive, and the people are trying to get through more aid, more water, more medical supplies, and so forth. And apparently, there have been some scrapes going on with the. There have been some scrapes going on with the. Pardon me, with the FEMA people, and actually, the FEMA people had actually come out and said that they felt that they were being threatened by people who themselves as militia. However, the people that are there, the residents, the people who've grown up there and lived there and so forth, are saying the most help that they're getting are from the people who are identifying themselves as militia. Now, in the Oxford Dictionary, if you look at excuse me a second. I can see, Lisa, you're calling. Please try calling the phone number 508-974-4231. I can't take the video call over this. Thank you. The people that are down south are getting help by the people that identify themselves as militia. Now, in the Oxford Dictionary, militia is defined as groups of people that are organized, that carry weapons and so forth. However, okay, maybe these people do carry weapons, and maybe they're carrying weapons while they're doing things, but they, by and large, are giving the aid to people. They are the ones that are loading up mules, turning them into mule trains, as from days of yore, 150 years ago or so, and on horses, and getting around the obstacles that have been caused by this horrible, terrible washout. That entire roads, entire communities have been washed away, plowed under by landslides and floodwaters, swept away. The amount of devastation is there. We're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. And it would seem, ladies and gentlemen, that the numbers, the death toll that we see, that we've been privy to, or whatever else, by the media, by and large, there have been a number of different sources who've all come to exactly the same conclusion. The numbers that we're seeing through the media of how many dead they found, that we should be tacking on 2 zeros to the end of that. So we are looking possibly now at a body count of somewhere in the tens of thousands of people dead. And yeah, for some odd reason or another, ladies and gentlemen, our government is denying things, and they're saying that, oh, the FEMA is saying, oh no, these people are lying, they're doing the wrong things, they're giving misinformation or disinformation, and don't believe them, believe us. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'll put this forward to you. We've got a nice message from Virginia. Virginia will be with you in a moment. I'll put this to you. I've got to get this thought out of my head. We have been lied to about what happened with the COVID. We have been lied to about the mask. We have been lied to about the social distancing. We have been lied to about what happened, where the COVID came from. We have been lied to about what we have to do about closing down our entire society and locking people into their houses and whatever else, in 6 foot social distancing, whatever the heck it is. Ladies and gentlemen, why in the hell should we trust the government and anything that comes out of them now? We've had almost 4 years of Biden and Harris, and we haven't gotten the damn truth out of them for anything. Why should we believe the FEMA administration turning around and saying, oh, the people are preventing us from giving aid? No. Well, we've got FEMA over here, who's the government agency, and we've got the group of the tens of thousands of people who've been displaced, their homes are gone, their family, their children, their pets, why would they be lying? Is it some grandiose conspiracy? And we have some comments here from Jenny. I personally know people who live there and are physically helping there, and there's no militia down there. Water and silt are contaminated, and the powers that be pulled their people out so that they don't have the military sick or dead.
Well, not to be, a bent nail in your wood, but it said North Carolina authorities arrest armed man after threats against FEMA workers. And there is quite a few stories on militia being down in.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's time.
Witnesses saw
Maybe
an
it's
armed
time
group.
because the FEMA, the stories that I've been hearing about FEMA getting out, stepping out and starting to give people a shove and mistreating them, ordering them around, pissing them off, or even worse, coming in and usurping the goods that have been brought to the people and saying, no, you're not distributing it. We're impounding it. We'll take care of that.
Well, let's take a listen.
Over the weekend, out of an abundance of caution, we made operational changes to keep FEMA personnel safe. But none of the changes we made impacted ongoing search and rescue or other life safety operations. We started to resume canvassing operations yesterday, and I was in the field with them, going door to door. And our disaster survivor assistance teams will continue to go door to door in impacted communities. So let me be clear.
How do you go door to door when the buildings have all been washed down?
I need everyone listening to hear this from me. The ongoing spread of misinformation about operations is not okay. It has got to stop.
We don't know how many people are not going to apply for FEMA because they have heard misinformation about FEMA taking their property or other wild accusations that are out there. People who desperately need this help but have been convinced that they should be afraid of FEMA or other government officials. That's something we may never know. And why people need to stop it, because the people that you're hurting are the very people who need the help the most.
Okay, let me see. The government did all of this lying before, but now we should believe them, take them at their word, sight unseen. They have been doubling down on crazy, stupid things for the last 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. They said the things we're going with the masks and the COVID and all of the injections, and then we got to get re-injection and a re-injection. Every time we turn around, the government says one thing, and then one incredibly stupid thing. And when the people start smartening up and not believing, well, then they turn around and double down on it. And that's exactly what they're doing now. That's exactly what they're doing now. I don't believe a brass farthing's worth of what comes out of their mouth, especially about this, trying to cover things up. Because you know what? There's video that backs it up that has been posted, and it's not something that was generated. These are things that are coming live from the people who are experiencing it, not people that are being paid for out of the mass news media, not people that are behind the curtain and behind operations in the United States government. The United States government has completely screwed up this operation. And why haven't they been able to get out more things, more aid and more money and more services and more materials? Why? Because they've been taking and giving it all off to illegal aliens. And you can't tell me that that's wrong. You cannot tell me that that's wrong. When state after state after state has hotels that are filled up to the brim, being paid daily, weekly, monthly, whatever, for housing illegal aliens in hotels. When we have people who are in need, who are citizens, who have worked here, who have given their sweat and built and contributed to the country, not these takers. There's a word in the Yiddish language called schnorrer. A schnorrer is a person who takes and takes and takes and takes without ever giving back. And that's exactly what these illegals are. They are taking and taking and taking and taking. They take money. They take health care. They take up space in our schools. They take up things in our hospitals. They take phone services that are being given. All of these things. They're not putting back. They're not paying for it. They're not earning it. They're overburdening our government, and the time has come for it to end. But unfortunately, they're taking and trying to sweep it under the rug. Oh, they're dreamers. They're migrants. They're entitled. No, they're not. Meanwhile, all of these people are suffering beyond suffering. Again, animals are dying and people are getting sick. We've seen our own eyes, trees uprooted, roofs torn off, buildings torn apart, etc. Look like a war zone. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is the truth. This is the truth. Don't believe what these people need to wake up and smell the shit that they're shoveling. In plain English. Okay, we've got a video here.
While rescue recovery efforts continue in the western part of the state and progress is being made, unsettling reports targeting FEMA workers are drawing attention and action. There's still plenty of work that needs to be done in what will likely be a years-long process, though for the time being, how that's accomplished will look different. ABC 11 learning that assistance teams are currently working at fixed locations in secure areas instead of going door to door out of an abundance of caution as FEMA assesses information of threats.
We try to film videos about what's going on to try to make sure that people can see what's happening, because I do believe a part of this has to be people seeing what's going on.
Buncombe County House Rep Caleb Rudow says much of his focus is on information sharing. He says from his experience, coordination has largely been positive across the board.
It's, the federal government, the state government, private businesses, community organizations, neighbors, pitching in and helping each other.
Misinformation has been a source of contention in the aftermath of Helene, with local officials repeatedly working to combat false claims gaining traction on social media, some of which centers on the federal response to the storm.
I have never seen anything that's where there have been so many falsehoods that have resorted in this sort of terrible thing like these threats that the workers are encountering.
Just like the falsehoods about Hunter
Bill
Biden's
Adair is a Knight
computer.
professor of the practice of journalism and public policy at Duke and has covered hurricanes as a journalist. He says they've been politicized for a long time, though the scale and nature in this instance can have a dangerous impact.
But longer term, this is really troubling because it makes people have second thoughts about getting involved in disaster recovery.
It's important to note that even in this case, initially reported claims of a truckload of militia threatening workers were not accurate, with the sheriff's office determining that Parsons acted alone. I'm Michael Perchik, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, again, they're saying things about oh, it's misinformation and they're lying and so forth. So let me see. Hunter Biden's laptop, that was misinformation and that was lies. And how many times have we heard Joe Biden get up and say, oh, that's all lies. They're telling lies. It's falsehood. It's completely false. Oh, it's lies. And of course, when you turn around, whatever it is that they're talking about is said to be true. And Kamala Harris and Tampon Timmy, they're these things are lies and whatever else. This is the boy who cried wolf. This is worse than the boy who cried wolf, ladies and gentlemen. This is the government who has stabbed us in the back, stabbed its people in the back. This is the schnorrer who takes and takes and takes from us, and takes and takes and takes from what we have given to the people who are in need, and God knows what they're doing with it. I'm sure they're redirecting some of it to go off to help out the illegal intruders. Ann Hartford, how you doing? Glad to see you in tonight. And yes, we have illegal alien invaders should be sent right back to where they came from. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, and let's talk more about the militia. Since FEMA can't be bothered, only how many days after this all happened did the Biden administration bother to send the 82nd Airborne in? How long did this go? So now you've got the militia and people that are down there that are walking around with their guns, which is their right. And even in our Constitution, Second Amendment about militia, Why do they need to walk around with their guns? Why? Because of looters. That's right. In terms of turmoil, in terms of disaster and so forth, to some people there is opportunity. We call them looters. People who will go around to wrecked houses, things like that, and run into them and start stripping the copper out so they can go ahead and get rich off of selling copper. Raise money for their drug habits. We know that this happens. We know that that happens. Or going around and trying to find some of the most grisly, disgusting thing for them to do, find dead bodies and take the jewelry off them. Recover the gold, wedding bands, necklaces, earrings, whatever. Looters. They exist, and it's a problem. And Lord knows, whatever law enforcement those people have down there, ladies and gentlemen, whatever law enforcement they have down there is woefully incapable of handling this situation themselves. Unfortunately, lots of that is going on here in Florida. Yeah. Yes, Ann, I've heard about that. And I believe that Lisa was trying to call in, was also going to address something, because I believe that she herself, in previous conversations, has said that she had experienced such things. So this is another fact of life, ladies and gentlemen. Something that people wouldn't consider. They don't know. They don't think about it, because they're right. Who thinks about going on and going through finding bodies to rob them of whatever they have? Not too many good people, only wrong people. So it's understandable how General Mr. or Mrs. Joe and Jones citizen wouldn't have thought about these things, but it's happening. Can you imagine that? Someone going around digging through things, finding bodies, and taking the personal effects. Can you imagine that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got our next and probably our last subject matter to be discussing. North Korea, bastion of ultra left-wing.
Turning now to the war in Ukraine and an ominous new development. The Pentagon has confirmed that North Korea is sending thousands of troops to Russia in what Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin calls a very, very serious
Y'all
escalation.
need to be paying attention to this on the news.
Believes he knows exactly where those troops are ultimately heading. CBS's chief foreign affairs correspondent Margaret Brennan has the story.
Video released by the Ukrainian government shows North Korean troops receiving military gear in Russia. CBS cannot independently verify the footage, but today Defense Secretary Austin confirmed that Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un have their troops training side by side at 3 specialized military sites inside of Russia.
There is evidence that there are DPRK troops in Russia.
Ukrainian President Zelensky warned him that Russia may send those forces to Ukraine, proving Putin seeks to escalate, not negotiate. And South Korean officials say the number may soon climb to 10,000, revealing that Russia is already training 3,000 North Korean special forces how to operate equipment, including drones. U.S. officials said the North Korean soldiers traveled in mid-October by ship from North Korea to eastern Russia and could end up on the battlefield.
If Russia is indeed forced to turn to North Korea for manpower, this would be a sign of weakness, not strength, on the part of the Kremlin.
Russia has already lost roughly 600,000 soldiers, according to the Pentagon, and has turned to hired mercenaries from Cuba and other countries for manpower. An axis of U.S. adversaries are now helping Russia. Iran sent personnel and drones. China lent much-needed financial support, and North Korea sent munitions. The U.S. is still trying to figure out what Kim Jong-un thinks he's getting out of this deal, and fear it could include Russian expertise to help build out his nuclear program.
It's been concerning. Certainly this development, this willingness of Kim to literally put skin in the game here.
And Margaret joins us now. So you mentioned this axis of adversaries. How significant is it?
It's very significant to see America's adversaries working together, basically to fill in all the gaps for Russia created by those Western sanctions.
That's what we don't want. That's what we don't want.
We have the making of another Axis powers.
Yeah, that's what we don't want. We don't. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I know we got our own issues here in the United States with the 2 hurricanes and stuff, but you know, this kind of stuff needs to be paid attention to. Needs to be paid attention to, ladies and gentlemen. Go ahead.
It all depends on what's going to happen with the upcoming election. I'm sure what they're doing is they're rolling the dice and taking their chances that Donald Trump will not be elected, which would allow them to go ahead and pretty much just prance uninhibited around. Now, let me throw a little monkey wrench in the ThoughtWorks process over here, folks. What if the North Koreans are receiving training and weapons in use for what? For another invasion of South
They did say that. They did say the North Koreans are training with the Russians.
No, not training with the Russians. What if they received all of this stuff with the intent of attacking again and invading South Korea?
I don't know. Watch the original Red Dawn. That will give you an idea how this might unfold.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are seeing the dawn. We pray to God it won't happen. The dawn of another world war.
I'm telling you, B.
The Axis powers, the friendships, the joint works, they're all coming together. It's all coming together. And you've got Iran, you've got Lebanon, you've got these other things. One of the things that really should happen over in that, what I believe should happen over in that area, since they've had a peace thing in the Middle East or whatever else, where is Qatar? Where is the United Arab Emirates? Where are the Saudis? Saudi Arabia, Arabians. Where are all the military from all of these countries? And where is the money that they have hoarded to help support Israel? Why aren't they kicking in?
I gotta do this, B, before we go. I gotta give him this. I gotta give him this 2-minute clip. And what everybody really needs to understand that this is how this could unfold. Okay.
What's going on here, my friend?
This is the emergency broadcast system. We are under attack by conventional forces of the Russian army. It is believed the lead waves were disguised as commercial charter flights. Communications have broken down with other parts of the country. Large areas of the Midwest may have been overrun.
They know who all of you are. They're looking for you.
You're 40 miles behind enemy lines.
I just want to go home. They took a lot of people away.
Where's my dad?
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say about that, B. And I didn't even play it all. You know what I mean? It's like, look, I know you're watching it. Everybody's watching it right now. Everybody's listening to it right now, and you're probably laughing. It's like, yeah, okay, you know.
No one will believe it's going to happen.
But you know what?
They don't believe it's going to happen.
You know what, B? Right now, we just said a story about how North Korea has sent ground troops to Russia.
Yeah.
All right, B, I'll let you say goodnight.
Yep. Annie Hartford, before I want to say that don't know about dead bodies, but lots of theft and going into homes and taking what they want, especially homes that are not occupied. That's looting, ladies and gentlemen, and it's happening here in America. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and thank the callers for calling in and people who are trying to call in. If you like this show, please tell your friends about it. Share this. Talk about it. Tune in again, whatever. If you don't like this, of course, go ahead, scroll on, find something else. But on behalf of the FFN network and for all the people who are listening over the radios and so forth, this has been Politicking with Mr. B. I want to thank my engineer, Blazeman, and we'll see you all again next week, real soon. Take care, everybody.
You have just watched an FFN Network production.